and he would pick out the very difficult missions. He was such a hero. And one day, we got an aircraft fire when he was leading this mission, and the whole cabin was full of smoke. And they thought sure they were going down. And the pilot called over and says, "Colonel," he says, "how are you, Colonel?" He couldn't even see him sitting beside him. And he smoked a cigar, and the cigar was mashed against his face. It threw him up against the windshield. He says, "Fly on." He says, "Fly on, Major. Let's keep going." He was a hero. He was a... this is the difference that you had, see, and these other damn officers that had to get their missions in, they pick out the easy stuff, and they come to me and see this, see. The other thing about this guy is I, as an enlisted man, in the evenings would play checkers, and I got to be a damn good checker player, and in my office there, we had... I was in headquarters. It's the only building that had the big 6 foot of concrete in the ceiling. And there we had S1, S2, S3, S4. That's the 4 squadrons had. S1 was all personnel. S2 was all intelligence. S3 is operations. That's who I was head of. S4 is engineering. They took care of all the airplanes and everything. They had each of the highest class officer in charge of that section was in our section there that got information from us. Well, what happened, I got very friendly with the chief navigator. His name was, he's down in Orange, Virginia. I forget, Major Fraser. And I used to play checkers with him. And I was a enlisted man and played it, and I was a damn good player. And, of course, the officer played checkers. And, of course, he played checkers at the officers' clubs and stuff. And so he played with the commanding officer there who liked to play checkers, Hilton, see. And he told Hilton one night when he's playing checkers, he says, "I got somebody that'll trim you good." Well, you didn't mix with the officers, so he said, "I know somebody will trim you." And he says, "Who's that?" Sergeant Vogelsong, see. So I had met him. He came into the office there. He was the commander of the whole base. Bravest man I ever seen in my life. Black-ass Hilton. The poor guy limped. He never needed to fly again. Here he flew for 25 more missions and led our troop. When I told you, they busted the cigar up against his face, couldn't see him, and the pilot says, "Are you okay?" Yeah, he says, "Fly on, keep going." Kept leading the 8th Air Force over in the deep Austria or something. Okay. One Sunday morning, we didn't work Sunday mornings. At 10:30 in the morning, I got a telephone call. "This is Colonel Hilton." "Yes, sir." "I want to see you over in your office." "Yes, sir." "Yes, sir." "No, sir." "No excuse." I thought, oh, brother. I had no idea what was going on, see. He called me and he says, "Sit your ass down over there." I says, "Yes, sir." He pulls out a checkerboard. He says, "We're going to play checkers." Oh, I said, "Okay." He didn't talk. He didn't talk much. We played 4 or 5 games. I beat him. It's only one game that he won. I won all the others. He got up and walked out and says, "You're pretty damn good." See, there I thought, boy, this is the end of it. I'm getting kicked out of the whole outfit. You know what I mean? I had so much respect. Now the chief navigator and the chief bombardier and the chief engineer that run the squadrons was in our office. But they were officer club, but they entertained each other at night, and that's what happened, you know. So I trimmed it playing checkers, you know. But nobody's had the experience that I've had there. So, but anyhow, and I did tell you then what happened is after the war they jumped me and about 6 of the other people in the headquarters office there, where I was. The only building had 6 foot of solid concrete in bottom and had a big. You've seen this you've seen these big offices. The big building. It has double doors on it. We didn't even wear gas masks inside because it was vaulted inside. It was heated and everything. And in the middle of it, they have a great big blackboard with all the pilots' names and so forth. And this is what I was in charge of. And it showed the pilots who they were, where they went, and all of this. You've seen it in movies. In my office, the office is up higher, and I had a glass frame out in front that that I was in charge of that, the whole blackboard and all that stuff. So,
the control tower is pretty well preserved. The control tower is pretty well preserved over at Debach.
The control tower is, and the headquarters building is, because I went over since, and then they explained to me what they had. At that time, the base was 5 miles across, 3 runways, and we had farms in between the runways because it was all farmland, flat where they made it, see? And so here, the federal government took over, and it was a poultry farm or something that the federal government was using it for then, see? And then they called me in, and I explained what these buildings were for, like the headquarters, why the concrete one. And then we went over and I went through the control tower and stuff, which I spent much time over there and so on, because when the mission was coming in, we'd get called on the radio, and then what we had to do is, see, we flew everything in squadrons tight together for protection, and what we had to do is when these planes would come in, the ones that had injured people or damage in front, they would ship red flares out first, and we'd let them land first, see. And so we had, I had, all of this information is written. It's down in the Smithsonian. Every mission I had to put out a folder that thick with every bomb we dropped, everything we went, and I was in charge of all that. All had to be centered into me. The navigation people, I get all their navigation in. I got a lot of photographs here, big 8x10 black and whites. I had stacks of them, of the missions, the bomb drops, where they got and everything. And all of that I had to send in. And I brought a lot of stuff home here that way, see. So, I forgot here now whatever. But anyhow, as the war got over, then I had enough of it and I got out. But I would not be here today, I'm sure, because my class that went down there, we were assigned, it was P4, used to fight the Messerschmitt that the German had during that tank war they had down in the Sahara Desert. So I believe that's why I'm here today. But we lost tremendous, every mission, I had to make a report every mission come back. I even seen people, I seen one B-24 come in when they land. When you land at an airfield, you got what you call, like my airfield here, if the wind's coming this way, you land into the wind. So we have what we call a downwind leg, and we turn 45 degrees, we turn on the base leg, the approach base leg, then we turn another 45 onto the approach leg, and then you get lined up with your runway and let it down. And what happened, we had one plane that, the flak was terrible, that they shot and tore all of the cables of the ailerons and stuff, but they had dual cables and everything, but still had one cable. This plane come down, he flashed on the red flares that we said, get her in quick. He come down on the downwind leg, on the base leg, made the approach leg, and when he hit, the damn thing exploded, killed everybody right in the middle of the runway, bomber all over the field, and the last cable tore that he couldn't, when he turned, and there's nobody's seen more deaths and more activity than what I have done. One other thing I don't know if I told you is this. Did I tell you about me going on to the mission where we flew German? I did tell you about flying food over to Holland and Netherlands and so on, did I?
This was a couple of years ago. It's possible. We're about to run out, so let me stop this and we'll restart it and you can tell the story again.